Well, joining us now to speak all things Kaizer Chiefs, we're joined by football writer and Times Live digital sports editor Mark Strydom via Zoom. A very good afternoon. Thanks for chatting to Newsroom Africa once again. Where are we at the moment? I mean, we weren't expecting that Kevin Johnson was going to keep his place, and we know that Chiefs had said that they were looking for a new coach. But to leave the club altogether and not just go back to the academy, why?
Yeah, hi, Valen, hi, viewers. Yeah, thanks for having me. Look, yeah, I feel a little sorry for Kevin Johnson. He wasn't hired as a head coach. He'd only been in that job for a few weeks and was moved over to be a caretaker coach. And so what is he actually being judged on? Because he never got to do the job that he was hired for. So whether Kaizer Chiefs have decided they've seen certain things, and ultimately, look, they've got to make the final decision, whether they've decided they saw some things that they felt maybe checked against Kevin, even as head of the academy. I guess that's what they must have decided. But I thought it was a little harsh on Kevin. He wasn't hired as a head coach. Things didn't go well as caretaker coach, the worst finish of 10th place. But it's never easy when you don't have a preseason either, and have to take over a squad, and it's a club with a lot of pressure on it, and it's not really the job he signed up for. So yeah, I felt a little sorry for him, I think.
Do you have any ideas where we could potentially see him next?
I think Kevin Johnson's got a lot of experience. He's worked with Platinum Stars, he's worked with AmaZulu, he worked with SuperSport, and he's been Al Ahly assistant coach with Pizzo in Egypt. So he's got a huge amount of experience. I would imagine, I think, and Kevin's generally been known to get results. I would imagine there's clubs in the PSL that would be looking at Kevin in the next year or two. But no, certainly no indication of anything on the radar right now. Like you say, I don't think it was necessarily expected that Kevin would go. So I don't think there's anything really blipping on the radar.
Yesterday, the club saying that they would announce the new head coach shortly to take them back to the glory days in the 55th year of the club's anniversary. Everybody expects it to be the Tunisian football coach, Nasreddine Nabi, but that could also hit a little bit of a snag. Why is that?
I think, and look, nothing's definitely hit, Valen. So yeah, absolutely. Look, it does seem to be the reporting and the fact that Nabi's assistant, the person that's been reported to be his assistant, Fernando de Cruz, has arrived in the country, being met by Kazim Matong Jr. We understand he's at Nature Arena. Seems to indicate it will be Nabi. The snag, it doesn't seem so much in the actual appointment, which if it is Nabi, which really every indication seems to be. And even the delay in Chiefs announcing seems to indicate it's Nabi. The snag is more the sort of timing of it. The Chiefs would have liked to have got Nabi to Nature Arena for the preseason as early as possible, where they've just got all the players back this week, and had him there overseeing that training, so that, because like you say, it's 9 seasons without a trophy, and going to a decade, I think, is quite a milestone. That Chiefs' longest without a trophy before was 1 season. They honestly don't want to go to a decade without a trophy. And if you don't quite have the preseason you would have liked, then it becomes difficult. So what's happened is that Nabi's team, FAR Rabat, who came second in the league in his first season in Morocco to Raja Casablanca, reached the Throne Cup final, which is basically their main cup in Morocco. That final was supposed to be on Monday. Then the Moroccan king's mother died, so this is quite a saga that is transpiring here. And our thoughts with the Moroccan people, of course. But the Moroccan king's mother died, and so that was on Saturday. And so all activities in Morocco have been postponed, as I understand by the reporting, for 10 days. And that includes that Throne Cup final that was supposed to have been played between Raja Casablanca and Nabi's FAR Rabat on Monday. So that match is in limbo. It seems like it's going to only be played early next week, and so that seems to be delaying an announcement. If it is Nabi, again, nothing is definite, nothing has been tied down. So that's sort of the complication, just in the timing of it. But if indeed his assistant coach is there training the team, you would imagine there would be communication between Nabi and his assistant in that preseason, and it would be quite structured. But that is the snag. If it is Nabi, that the timing of the announcement won't be as early as Chiefs had hoped. Unless Chiefs can go ahead and make an announcement now that they, their fans are so impatient. You could see by the tone of Chiefs' statement that they put out, we'll make an announcement soon. Yes. They've had huge expectation on social media and call-ins and people calling the club. And so they might have to make an announcement even before their Throne Cup final is played in absentia of the coach. But again, if it's Nabi.
And I suppose also you can understand the fans' frustration. You can understand the fans calling for a resolution to this current status, because since the departure of Molefe and Ntseki, they've been asking who is going to be the permanent replacement. And every time we're told shortly, and that shortly is just far too long. You mentioned how important a pre-season is. We're not quite sure when the first fixture will be for the DStv Premiership. All indications by the second week in August, but you also need to maximize that pre-season, so you can't be going too long into the pre-season without a head coach.
No, absolutely, and I guess that's why, if it is Fernando de Cruz, the 51-year-old Frenchman who arrived in the country not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, and was filmed by the website Far Post greeting Kaizer Motaung there, which seems the biggest confirmation that this will be Nabi as the head coach. If he's there taking the preseason, I think that helps the situation a lot, but it's not ideal. And I think Chiefs would have, Chiefs probably were sitting a week ago watching the semi-final and hoping that Far Rabat lost. They were against, I forget who they played in the semi-final. And then they won, and then it comes. Then they've got a strange system in Morocco that it's the Throne Cup, and the king picks the date of the final, and so they were waiting for a date of a final if it's Nabi, and then that final is set down for Monday, and then just 2 days before that final is played, something happens in Morocco, a seismic event of a member of the royal family, the king's mother, dying, and now Chiefs are sitting again waiting. And like you say, I think the expectation, absolutely, since the end of the season, and Chiefs had made it clear, I think, towards the end of last season, as things were going badly, they would have a new coach. The expectation from the fans has been, they've been clamoring for an announcement of someone high profile, someone who's won trophies. Nabi ticks these boxes. He hasn't won a huge amount of trophies, so there's still a bit of an element of risk there, but he's certainly a coach with a good profile, a coach who did well in Tanzania, then went to Morocco, and in his first season came within a point of winning the league against Raja Casablanca, who went the season unbeaten. So he's got definitely got some credentials. He's possibly young enough to have the hunger to want to do well, which is at a club like Chiefs that seems essential at the moment, because
those certainly look like the characteristics that the Amakhosi would be looking for, especially in a new head coach. Mark Strydom, digital sports editor at Times Live and football writer, thank you so much for chatting to us here on Newsroom Africa. Always good to hear your comments.